All right,
Hello, what's
guys.
up, everybody? Oh, okay. No, that's okay. Actually, my bad. Usually, I just introduce the whole thing, but you had one prepped, Andrew. I want to hear it. Go ahead. Ignore what I
No,
just said,
no
everybody.
worries. It's just I'm just really excited because these are my recommends, and they're recommends I've been waiting to talk about on here. Let's do this. So today, guys, we are going to be talking about two films that I have very high regard for, and the director who did them, also another person I have very high regard for. We're going to be talking about The Lighthouse and The Northman, both directed by Robert Eggers. So the first film we're going to be talking about is The Lighthouse, which is the premise more or less is we follow two lighthouse keepers, more or less keeping a lighthouse and trying to keep their sanity. It's very interesting, and it's such a great exploration of many things that we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to get into it. So, guys, what do we think of the lighthouse initially? What are our thoughts?
100%. Okay, go ahead, Rico. Yeah, you go ahead first. I'll go last on this one because I do have a lot to say.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Real quick, this is AM Podcast.
Thank
Boom.
you. Forgot that
Yeah.
one thing because I was too excited.
You
Welcome
got
to the
so
podcast.
excited. All right, so
In
real
case you
quick.
don't read the title on the page, that we are the AM podcast.
Yeah, I am Rico.
I'm Matthew.
And I'm Andrew.
All right. And this is what we thought of The Lighthouse.
No, that's okay. That 100%. This is our best intro. Let's keep going.
All right, so
But yeah, go ahead, Rico. What are your thoughts on this movie?
I watched like bits and pieces of The Lighthouse like years ago. I wasn't really invested. It was just something that had on the background. Holy shit, dude. I had no clue how weird this movie gets. I spaced out on the parts where it got weird. This movie took me places, man. This was strange in a good way. I really liked it. What about you, Matt? How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, 100%. This movie has been solidified as like one of my all-time favorites after this most recent watch. Like I love this movie like that much. And yeah, like I appreciate like honestly like when it got first brought up that like we were going to be discussing it, I was like, okay, that's going to be dope. Like I don't really have much more to add to the film discussion, cuz it's all basically been said already. But after this most recent watch, I did pick up on a few little things that I'm really dying to get into. And yeah, I just really want to delve into like what you guys got out of it and, what you guys thought the overall message was, or like what are some themes you guys picked up on. Yeah, I'll just ask you guys, what are like, uh, uh, I don't want to cut right into the cake yet. I was gonna ask you guys like, what do you guys think the overall meaning of the movie is? But we'll get into that a little bit later. But the first thing that I really want to fucking talk about is the performances and how fantastic they are. And yeah, why the fuck didn't Willem Dafoe get an Oscar nomination for this? I'll never fucking know. It's bullshit. But he's amazing in this movie. Like seriously, this is honestly, and I haven't gone out and watched every Willem Dafoe movie, but I have. I've watched a pretty good amount under my belt. Of course, the Spider-Man films. This recent artsy one called Antichrist. Yeah, dude is a very versatile actor that just does a lot of shit. Like it's just crazy to think that he's like Green Goblin and then like to just you know turn it on its head when he's doing like something like this, where he's like really like putting in a performance, where he's like actually like physically acting, and he's putting on like an accent and with a dialect here too. Like I know I'm like going on about Willem Dafoe's performance right now, but yeah, holy shit, it's definitely like one of those ones. It's definitely a performance you'll remember years from now. Like he didn't get nominated or anything, but it stands out way more than like an Oscar nominated performance. Like, the dude's just a master at his craft at this point, and yeah, he just killed it in this movie. Freaking, what did you guys think of Mr. Defoe in this movie?
I think he was great. I mean, everything you're saying, dude, is 100% on point because I was one of those people like you could ask my roommate. I was so infuriated that Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson did not get Oscar nominations because they both play the characters they're supposed to be playing in this movie. Robert Pattinson plays a very shady, ominous, mysterious person working at the lighthouse, and Willem Dafoe plays this like straight, quote unquote, straight edge lighthouse keeper who likes to follow the rules, who likes to do things by the book and all that kind of thing. But at first, you think that. But throughout the movie, you kind of see that he's not 100% within regulations and he does things sort of shady like. So, him and Robert Pattinson's characters have a lot of similarities, but we only see them as we watch the movie further and further. And just to add to your point about like Willem Dafoe not getting an Oscar, I'm gonna jump the gun a little bit. There's this one, it's a couple of Willem Dafoe's monologues throughout this movie where I was kind of like, okay, if he doesn't get nominated, I will burn down the fucking Academy because this is ridiculous. He does not win, like, or even gets considered. The only thing the Lighthouse was actually nominated for was best editing, I think, or best lighting, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but
It was best cinematography.
best cinematography. There we go, and that's a great nomination. Don't be wrong, because the cinematography in the film is fucking fantastic because they actually filmed on location. And I just want to say too, like what I loved a lot about the Lighthouse, and this is like my inner theater kid in me, is how the movie felt like a play. It felt like a very long play because you had two leads throughout the entire film who were giving great performances. They are performing monologues written within the dialect of the time period, and their accents are very much in on par with the time era they're in. Like everything in the film was so great, and it frustrated me that it only got one nomination for cinematography of all things, which it's well deserved, but it needed to at least get performance nominations and at least a film nomination for me personally.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah,
dude, with Willem Dafoe in this movie, this is like a standout performance for him, dude. Like, holy crap, dude! So some of it seems like he's like kind of doing the same thing where he's acting in two different styles. Like one where he knows he's like a scumbag, and another one where he's like a completely sane person. Like, hey, dude, what's going on? It seems like in different scenes, he's able to just flip the switch, being like, and it's like a gaslighting in a way. Like he's such a good freaking actor in this movie, where he's like, you either believe he's right or you believe he's just putting on like a show and stuff. And the accent he has throughout the entire movie, he keeps it. He never, like, I don't think there was a single part where he dropped it on accident or anything. Like he played that
no.
part like perfectly, dude. Like there were no freaking drops. I his every line he said was like either very vulgar or really eloquently put, but still saying like terrible things. Uh, but yeah, in regards to Robert Pattinson, he seemed like a he seemed like the new generation type of person that basically Willem Dafoe just seen like right through like immediately, and I like that because he's
Mm-hmm.
like it just like, oh man, dude, I just like their dynamic. It's like for the most of the movie, it's just those two, and they carried it. Like I don't think there's another duo that could have done that.
Yeah,
For sure, dude. There's no way. Like you could maybe you. I'm sure the movie would have been made even without them, but you can tell Robert Eggers wanted them specifically. Like you can just see it in their performances and in the writing and just everything in the movie. You could see that they were the two choices for sure.
yeah. Robert Eggers in the I don't know if he specifically wanted Defoe. I can't remember, but I do recall him saying that he did want Robert Pattinson for this movie. But at the time, like Robert Pattinson was only accepting kind of like weird and challenging roles at the time. Like around this time, I think Good Time by directed by the Safdie brothers also came out around this time. So like Robert Pattinson was definitely like looking to like expand like his acting chops a little bit more around this time, and freaking what a movie to like get cast in,
Yeah.
and the amount of shit that they have, like the script has these characters go through so much shit, like it's such a physical and dialogue heavy performance where like yeah, holy shit, like they're going on long monologues and the camera doesn't cut away for the most part, like just just the like I said, the acting with delivering the monologues in this, like I mean, obviously we all know that's like no easy feat and whatnot, but yeah, dude, like they pull this shit off seamlessly. Like Willem Dafoe and Pattinson both. Like I know I didn't say much about Robert Pattinson before, but it it is kind of hard because like Willem Dafoe just gives like a full powerhouse performance, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's just hard because being next to Willem Dafoe, like one of the all-time greats, it's kind of hard to top that. But he held his own very well. Like in no way is that like a knock against his ability because he did perfect in my opinion as well with what he was giving. Yeah, freaking yeah. Pattinson also did great.
Yeah,
What did you guys think about the? Well, I mean, there's only like two other actors in this. Like, I think, well, one of which is the mermaid, and the other is I can't remember the dude's name, but he plays Ephron, which is
The original.
also yes, the original Ephron, which I mean, we can get into. So, how did you guys feel about? Okay, so. So who do you guys think Willem Dafoe is? Is like first question, Rico.
Oh.
All right, so are you talking like
Like in the context of the movie, like who is Willem Dafoe supposed to be? Like even metaphorically too. Like
so
what did you get out of it?
based on the way he was speaking and also this one little like his hallucination that he had where he's like standing, he looks like he's like one of those Greek statues, just like and then his eyes start glowing, his mouth starts glowing. He kind of reminded me of like the depictions of Poseidon, like where he's like the raging sea, and basically that's how I was getting like the vibes for it, because even though he like is a lighthouse worker, before that he was like a sea dog. Basically he was always like on a boat, and like he just lived on the sea. And I don't know, it just gave me like such like a pantheon type of vibes, where he was like uh basically like a figment of like the sea is what I was taking, but I could be completely wrong. I This movie threw me in so many different directions. I was like, whoa. What about you, Andrew? What'd you think?
Honestly, dude, there are so many ways you could interpret what is going on in the movie overall. Like and you're talking to somebody who has watched this movie like religiously. I've seen it, like I was talking to Matt before we started recording. Like I've seen this movie at least 20 times. Like it's one of my all-time favorite movies, and you can look at it that way. Like Willem Dafoe's character is a pantheon of like the gods, and he's like sort of like tormenting Robert Pattinson's character. You can also make the argument that it's sort of like a self-reflection. Like Willem Dafoe could technically be an older version of Robert Pattinson's character, because Robert Eggers actually revealed that in the script, their character names, they don't say Thomas or Ephraim or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just young and old. That's all it says on the script.
Yes.
And that could just be interpreted in so many more other ways. You could say it's a young man and an old man. You could say it's young Thomas and old Thomas. You could like take it in so many different directions. You could even say that they're both, tormented souls that are stuck in limbo. There are so many ways you could interpret this movie and what is actually going on. So that's one of my favorite aspects of it. Like you don't genuinely know I'm sure there might be an answer. I'm sure Robert Eggers probably has the answer of what's actually going on. But I love the idea that no one really knows what the setting is per se and who the characters actually are. Because like we were saying earlier, like Robert Pattinson's character, he goes by Ephraim Winslow throughout the movie. And then you find out later that's not his real name, that was the name of his former boss, who, spoiler alert, everybody, we're going into spoiler territory real quick, that Ephraim Winslow was actually Robert Pattinson's character's boss from when he was a timberman, basically a lumberjack. And he killed his boss for, I think it was something about his boss was just like a dick to him all the time, and he got tired of it, so he just killed him or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So he just took his name and then ran away and like just changed his whole identity and everything, and became a wiki along with Willem Dafoe's character. So like I said, there's so many ways you can interpret this, but I think it's great that there's no real concrete answer. But I don't know, Matt, you might have an answer. You might have looked into it more. What do you think?
I wouldn't. I mean, I don't think like I have like per se like an answer. I will be, sharing some of my interpretations that I got from this most recent watch. But the thing that really stood out on this watch was the main. Okay, so I definitely did miss this on the first few watches. Like I just never picked up on the vibe of it until like this most recent watch, which I don't know, which is insane to me because like you said, Andrew, like I've watched this movie like multiple times, but like this watch, I picked up a lot of this energy. And what I'm referring to is that the entire movie is sprinkled out. It has this element of sexual frustration
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
and
There it
not
is.
being able to like fully express your pleasure. There's this one particular scene that like I always come back to. I'll go in order. The first thing that like Robert Pattinson does when he gets there, well, he's kind of a shithead. He lights a cigarette and then he just throws the match on the floor, and then he fucking tries to break into Willem Dafoe's desk, which has oh my god, like the journal and whatnot. But yeah, shortly after that, freaking he finds a mermaid in a hole in his bed, and so basically, like, well, even later on in the movie, he uses that mermaid to masturbate to because he has nothing else to. But the very first scene that you see Robert Pattinson masturbating, it's very early on in the movie. It's like in like the first 10 or 15 minutes. As soon as he's done, he's fucking jerking off in like this outhouse that's off to the side and whatnot. As soon as he gets out, the first thing he sees is Willem Dafoe at the top of the lighthouse with the light on, naked. So like, I kind of view that as like, okay, so like he is basically Willem Dafoe. He is getting the ultimate pleasure, basically. Like, there's even like a point in the movie where Willem Dafoe refers to the light as a she. So I view it as like Robert Pattinson is looking at him like, wow, this dude is fucking jerking off in the fucking lighthouse, and I have to fucking jerk off down here in the fucking shed. Like, really? Like, I do all the fucking work, which he fucking does throughout the entire movie. Like, you see Robert Pattinson doing like all this fucking horrible, backbreaking work, and then fucking there's that one scene where Willem Dafoe finds him. You're neglecting your duties, lad. Don't deny it. And then he fucking points to like a fucking like a speck of water on the floor. What is that? And it's just like, oh my Jesus. So yeah, like basically like, or there's even a scene where Robert Pattinson is he's using the ladder and he sees like a hole in the wall, and he sees Willem Dafoe like humping the bed. So like again, like there's this element of like sexual frustration throughout this movie that Robert Pattinson just doesn't get. Like basically, Willem Dafoe is getting the ultimate sexual pleasure throughout the movie, and he's just sitting on his ass, not doing any breakbacking work. Well, Robert Pattinson, he wants that. He's striving for that. Like he's been wanting that like the entire movie, but he never fucking gets it. So it's like he can't even like express like his like sexual frustration on anything. He just gets more and more mad as you see throughout the movie. It just starts to literally drive him insane. So yeah, I talked for a minute there, but yeah, I'll definitely get into more detail. But I don't know. What did you guys think of all the sexual undertones and whatnot?
Oh, dude, I definitely was picking up on it. I picked up on it for sure, like during my second viewing of it, way back when the movie first came out. Because actually, the first time I went to go see this, I went to go see it in theaters with a friend of mine, Ryan, because we were both very much we're both into those kinds of like artsy films, and like we're just into movies in general, like everyone here is. So when I watched it the second time, I kind of picked up on it the first time, but I wasn't too sure because I was just so like amazed by both actors' performances. I wasn't really like it hadn't caught my eye initially, but the second time I started noticing it more and more, and it led me to create this theory at the time when I was watching it. I was like, what if like the sexual tension is being caused not only by like the lighthouse itself, but Willem Dafoe is sort of like an extension of the light in a way. And it brought me back to my other theory of saying that like maybe Robert Pattinson's character is being tormented for his actions of killing his boss and everything like that, and this is sort of his version of hell. And Willem Dafoe's character, along with being an extension of the light, one of the things like I don't know if you guys remember the scene when they're kind of like slow dancing together, and then they're about to like kiss each other, but then they like push each other off of one another. And like fall in a bit to be like, oh, we're not gay, we're manly men, we're sailors, we're wikis. Like, you know, they're trying to like show off that energy because famously, as a lot of people know, like a lot of people will make gay jokes about sailors and all that because there's a bunch of men stuck on a ship together with no women and all this kind of stuff. So that's one thing I kind of picked up on my second time watching it. And here I'm jumping the gun a bit again, just to add to what I'm saying right now. Towards the end of the film, when so spoiler alert, guys, just in case that wasn't clear, when Robert Pattinson is like pummeling the shit out of Willem Dafoe, and at one point when he's pummeling him, he changes into like this like sort of sea-looking creature, but not like 100% a creature, sort of like a half human, half octopus-looking thing, sort of like, for an image concept, like Ursula from Little Mermaid. And it made me think, well, what if that's what he really looks like, and like Robert Pattinson is only just now seeing it or something like that because he's fighting back or whatever the case may be? Or is it just he's going crazy because he's at sea and he just sees that for a brief moment because he's going fucking nuts? So it was just sort of stuff like that made me enjoy the movie even more, because it's like, it could just be interpreted so many different ways, and that's one of the greatest and most coolest things a movie can do, when you have so many different interpretations from a single scene alone, which is what I loved about this so much.
Yeah, the way I took it, the way I construed it was Robert Pattinson was out here like in the shed in the dark, completely separated from the lighthouse, like basically in like on his knees, like jerking off, and like that's how he was coming to like sexual satisfaction. And it was very like grunty, like very gross looking. And then he goes into the lighthouse, checks out I guess I'll call him Old Tom, checks out Old Tom, and he's proudly standing up completely naked, like on his feet, looking right into the sun, completely illuminated, and just letting it happen. And like just completely opposite from Robert Pattinson, which draws like the differences between them. And that's what Robert Pattinson wants. Like, I just feel like the whole time he just seemed like he wanted what Willem Dafoe had. And even though like Willem Dafoe put in like so much time as a wiki, like Robert Pattinson just wanted it right out of the gate, and he was like, he became like super like envious, and like he just grew a lot of animosity towards him, and he just wanted it now. He didn't want to put in the time and work into it. And a lot of that is like because in order for Willem Dafoe to be like the position he is, he must have been doing this for like years and years on end, and basically he already paid his dues. And Robert Pattinson is paying his dues, but he's not seeing it like that. He's seeing like he's being taken advantage of, when I'm sure the same thing had already been done to Willem Dafoe. And that's just kind of like the phasing period, So it's like, it just seemed like Robert Pattinson was just not happy with having to start off at the bottom while Willem Dafoe's literally at the top in the light,
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah, freaking, it's so weird to talk about it in that sense, because, like, there are, like, some things where it's, like, because, like, I interpret it as, like, they are the same person. Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, like, they're the same person, they have the same name. And, yeah, there's, like, also, like, other things that, like, connect those dots as well. Like, I mean, mostly them sharing the same name. But yeah, it does introduce, like, like Andrew was saying, like, you could interpret this in, like, so many ways. And so, like, I interpret it as, like, Willem Dafoe is, like, kind of like his... Because, like, in my opinion, like, the island just isn't real. Like, it's just a figment of his imagination. Like, there's a scene later on where Willem Dafoe like explicitly states that like you're crazy, like you probably just imagine this whole scenario, like this whole island, just this me and you, like you're going crazy. And so I interpret it as like the island is purgatory for Robert Pattinson's character, and basically like I view it as like because like there's also the point of them getting off the island. Like there's a few points where like Willem Dafoe early on says like, "Oh, you're going to get off the island," but he's saying that like spoiler alert. He was saying that to Robert Pattinson right after he killed the seagull, and then you see the wind shift, and so you're like, okay, well, you were almost there, dude, but you fucked up. Like you shouldn't have killed that bird. You shouldn't even early on when they're having dinner. Willem Dafoe also explicitly tells him that those have the souls of dead sailors, and freaking when Robert Pattinson freaking kills one, like I said, you see the wind shift and whatnot. So I do view it as kind of like basically like Willem Dafoe might be like his future self, like this, like you've already been here for this long, but you're having like another chance at redemption. But Robert Pattinson just fucks up every fucking time. Like he can't get through this challenge of being on this island and going through all this type of shit, which he does deserve to go through because he did kill somebody. And yeah, I just view it as him like not learning his lesson still. Like he's gonna stay stuck in purgatory until like he learns the fucking lesson. Like even the speech where Willem Dafoe is, or he's like, "Hark!"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I will smite thee."
Strike ye down. Like when he's doing that.
Yeah.
Speech was great, by the way. Another great monologue.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but what he explains is exactly what happens to Robert Pattinson, and so it's like, okay, so like, yeah, like I said, like interpreting Willem Dafoe's character, you can interpret it so many ways, but I do view him as kind of like his like maybe like I said, his future self, but also kind of like I don't know, one of you said like Poseidon. I don't want to use Poseidon because I don't know.
He says Neptune.
Poseidon, Neptune, like
Neptune,
that kind of that type of entity, like an entity of some sort. But yeah, freaking that's just like one of the ways I view it. What did you guys think?
There's one thing I wanted to bring up with the whole the souls of the dead sailors in the seagulls. Like when he's giving him that speech and he's like, "Bad luck to kill a seabird," and if you kind of notice in like one of the points when they're fishing for, because throughout the movie they have to fish for their food, like for lobster and all that, and there's this part where when it's before Willem Dafoe does the whole Hark monologue and everything, and he's talking about his lobster and he's like, "You're fond of me, lobster." Don't deny it. Like he's actually getting offended because Robert Pattinson.
I know. I've seen it.
He's like, I know.
I'm the lobster.
Yeah, I want to add to that point. The reason I bring it up is because at one point, I don't know if you guys remember, but when he's fishing for the lobster and everything, at one point he sees a head in there, like someone's head, and it's missing an eye. And if you pay attention, I think the seagull he actually kills is missing an eye.
Yes,
it's a one-eyed seagull. Yeah.
Like, there's a theory that I heard later on after I had noticed that Robert Pattinson actually killed that seagull, but that seagull was like trying to warn him about what's going on the island, but obviously he can't fucking understand what a seagull is saying because it's a bird. So he just sees the bird as something that's annoying him, so he just like killed him out of like frustration. That was sexual frustration, just sense of entitlement frustration, like all that frustration he had, he just took it out on the bird, who was, theoretically people were saying was trying to help him. So I thought that was an interesting theory to bring up that I had heard.
Yeah, and it's like I said, like when you like introduce like elements like that, it does like, I wouldn't say like contradicts like other theories, but it just like adds like another thing to the mix where it's like, oh shit, like it's not as like cookie cutter or clear as you initially thought. Like it is very like complex in that sense with the detail, and I fucking love it. Like I didn't even like pick up on that either. I was like, oh shit, that's pretty dope. Like that's a great little detail.
The amount of layers this movie has is just it's so fucking cool. And I like it better that it doesn't have a concrete answer. I think that's what makes the movie that much more cooler
Oh,
for me
definitely,
personally.
yeah.
Like I prefer it to just have this weird sense of ambiguity. Sorry,
Ambiguity.
There you go. Thank you. And it just it adds so much to the movie. But what did you think, Rico? What are your feelings on that?
So something that I really liked about in the beginning was like for it was a big topic in the beginning was cleaning the cistern and basically trying to get purified water, but every time he thought it was clean, he would drink it and it would be contaminated. It would taste like basically chlorine and lead, and he just kept throwing the white chalk in there, trying to purify it, but he just couldn't. And the whole time he's doing like really backbreaking labor. He doesn't want to drink alcohol on the job, and basically he's just like super dehydrated. He's starting to lose it, and it's like if you look at it as if it's like if you look at it as if there's no symbolism, it's like a case study. And it's like, oh yeah, this guy was on this island. He had no water. He was losing it.
Yeah.
He was overworking. He was hallucinating, and thought of it like that. Then it's actually like it kind of explains itself if you look at it like on a shallow area. Yeah, it's like
surface level.
yeah. Look at it like surface level, and it's like just that alone could explain a lot too. It's just like and then giving in to drinking alcohol, and then you progress from the moment he starts drinking the alcohol, you could see him going way more crazy and being like on the same level as Willem Dafoe's character. And it's like there are times when like they're singing songs that it seems like only Willem Dafoe's character should know some of these songs, but then like it goes to Robert Pattinson and he's like singing it too, like word for word. He knows these songs that he shouldn't know, it seems like. And
well, there's one song in particular where he learned while being a lumberjack. Freaking where he is like the one where he's like slurring his words super bad and he's singing very fast. Like right before he starts hugging Willem Dafoe. That's the one I'm referring to. Like he the lumberjack one. But the ones where they're singing together, I just kind of view that as like, well, because like I don't know, I didn't see the intro of it. Like it's just mid cut. Like oh, they're singing and dancing together, having good old camaraderie.
Yeah.
Like fuck, those are some of the funniest scenes though. Like I know we haven't like really got too much into it. Like we've been going into like kind of like the subtext of the film. But this fucking movie's hilarious, though. Like, it's genuinely, like, hella funny.
Oh, and something that I want to circle back to real quick. Sorry, we'll move on after this. But basically, like, the things he drinks, like, throughout gets progressively worse and worse. Like, there's no water for him to drink, so he starts drinking alcohol. And then when they run out of alcohol, they go to the next worst thing. They try to, like, make basically... in a way purify like turpentine, like to make it into like an alcoholic beverage, and then eventually they just start drinking straight turpentine after that, and it's like it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse like as it goes on.
I just want to add one more thing too, just to Rico's point, because I was going to bring that up too, because I had noticed you didn't, but you did, so that's perfect. But I also want to bring up, I don't know if you guys paid attention to this part though. Like when Robert Pattinson's character gives in to like just drinking alcohol, he takes that first shot with him, and then it's like, all right, cool. But if you notice, Willem Dafoe like grabs the bottle instantly and just pours him another shot like as quickly as he could, because he's like, oh, I got him. Here we go. You guys noticed that or not? But
well, yeah, like even Willem Dafoe like introduces the alcohol to Robert Pattinson, like when he goes outside and he digs that hole. And freaking just pulls out a fucking whole fucking case of that shit. So like, yeah, there's even like this whole like undertone of like Willem Dafoe being like basically like the bad influence on Robert Pattinson. Like there is like even in the beginning, like you guys said, like how he was like saying no to the alcohol, but like once it got to like that point, it's like okay, well fuck, might as well accept his offer now. Like I kind of just view that as like another challenge like he had to go through, but instead of just like working harder and kind of like get your penance, he didn't do that. He just fucking like gave up and was just pretty ignorant about it, honestly.
Yeah.
And I just realized this too. I wanted to add to, because this kind of adds to your point, Matt, about the humor. Like Willem Dafoe says, "There's some rations buried under. Dig for the rations," and then you realize the rations is just more fucking alcohol. And I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe is fucking one of the best comedic actors ever.
He really is.
And I'm just saying that just based off this one role. I don't care.
He's just out here farting away.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Like in one of the opening scenes when Robert Pattinson is looking all shady,
Oh
kind
my
of,
god.
and kind of through, and he walks into the room and he hits his head. That right there, I was like, oh shit! Like that made me laugh. But then he sits down, and then you don't see him because there's just like that big wooden like podium in the middle of the room. You just hear like a fart, and you're like, what the hell? And you see Willem Dafoe's character walk into frame because he was just hidden behind the podium taking a piss, and you're just like, what the fuck, dude?
Bro, he farted in his face too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's making worse.
Just to mean him some more and make him feel inferior, he just farts in his face after pissing right in front of him too.
Like, and I love that too because like it sets the tone for the entire movie. Like the farts come back.
The rise of the fart jokes.
Is like, and your farts. I can't stand
And
your
your
farts.
Your goddamn farts.
You smell like curled up foreskins.
Yeah.
And you smell your putrid smell.
Oh my god! Or that one scene where fucking Robert Pattinson is fucking dumping the shit buckets.
Oh my god.
And then
no, dude.
he fucking throws it over the edge only for it to blow back in his face.
Oh,
like,
I know, dude.
bro, that was like the most that was the best reaction ever. Just a shriek, not even like a scream, just a shriek, bro. Like, oh,
Like he's just so done.
Yeah.
yeah, bro. Like you could tell, like, oh, bro, that was past the final straw. That was like fifth past the final straw.
The part that also like made me laugh too was when I bring back my other point about the lobster thing that made me laugh. Robert Pattinson's character, he was like, "I want a steak, a bloody rare steak. If I had a steak, I'd fuck it." Like he was just going off about steak. That shit was hella funny too.
Well, again with the sexual frustration, like that's
yeah.
on his mind. He's like, I will literally fuck anything, even if it's a piece of meat. And like, even when the mermaid shows up, he fucking he starts, he's like, oh fuck yeah, like starts touching her sexually. Like this makes no sense, but I don't fucking care. But then he realizes like, oh, she doesn't have a vagina, and then like he starts to like freak out and whatnot. And then when you come back to the mermaid later on, she does have like a weird big ass vagina, and like for him it's like exactly and it's like he freaking like views it as like, well, that's how he wants to view it. Like if I was to fuck this thing, like this is how the vagina would look.
Yeah, she's got a lot of labia, that girl.
Yeah.
Some say it was all.
Flaps on flaps on the flippers, man.
The flipper flap.
But yeah, freaking what was I gonna say? So yeah, how did you guys feel about the black and white presentation? There were like a few instances where I saw it in the like the behind the scenes, and I mean I'm not gonna not like I got like a feel of it like watching it in that way, but you kind of do somewhat get a feel for it. It definitely makes me realize that like, okay, black and white was actually like the correct choice. Like I actually do think it complements the film in every way, like with the whole purgatory theme and whatnot. Like I think it fits it very well.
The black and white theme and then the aspect ratio that Robert Eggers used for the movie, it's like really fitting for it. I liked how it just looked. And then when I watched the behind the scenes stuff too, and then Robert Eggers explains how much harder it was actually to film with the aspect ratio he had, and using the black and white filter on the camera made it that much harder. And like filming on site, like they had to actually deal with like all the rainstorms and like everything going on around the island, so that made it that much harder, which is that much more impressive when you actually watch the movie in the end. She's like, this shit's still really good, and they managed to do all this while filming in the middle of a fucking storm, basically.
Yes.
And what's crazy is that they fucking the set design. They specifically designed this lighthouse with this aspect ratio in mind. So like that's just like another extra layer of just hard work. Whereas like other directors would just like stop at like the bare minimum. Like okay, we don't like the structure of this building does not matter. The aspect ratio does not matter. But like no, like I get the exact opposite effect. Like you definitely get like a lot more of that claustrophobia with that aspect ratio, and it just complements the lighthouse even better. Like honestly, like the way the camera works around this lighthouse is just amazing. It's really really nice. It's very seamless too.
Yeah, going into this movie, I thought because I thought that the black and white was just some filter that they put on in post-production, and I was just like, oh, yeah. But as it went on, you can tell that it's like, it had to be like super freaking bright in certain areas to get like the black and white aspect.
Yeah.
Just to make it like pop in certain areas, like especially in the lighthouse, like that's really difficult to do. Like everything has to be super lit up so you get the shadows, and then you also get like the details in the lights. And just from a technical standpoint, that is insane. That's a lot of freaking like work. You got to make sure that every single person is doing their job like to the peak of their ability, because it's like not only is like acting like freaking like phenomenal in this, but it's also like lighting, cinematography, like everything has to be super on point to make each like shot count. So it's like this could have been an easy movie where everyone is just getting pissed at every single person in production. Like,
I got a story. Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah. There is just one particular scene. There is a scene where Robert Pattinson was he was having a freak out, and he's pulling out drawers. One of those drawers in one of the takes, he pulled it so hard and he hit Willem Dafoe in the knee. And Robert Eggers brought that up in the director's commentary, and he didn't go into it, but he and I quote, he said it created very interesting tension that day. But he didn't like clarify, like he didn't like really go into it and whatnot. So like, yeah, it leads me to think that like Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson like definitely like got into like a little bit of a fight there on set, a little bit because of that. Like,
Dude,
why are you pulling this shit so hard?
Like, dude, how is it Robert Eggers? Even when he's such a good storyteller. Even when he tells a simple story of an on-set incident, it's so good. Like he just like. He just didn't even need to go into detail. He left it ambiguous. Like, oh yeah, so it led to some tension. And you're like, what tension?
You can draw a lot of conclusions from that, dude.
Yeah, literally. Did you?
No, exactly. I was like, that's interesting. I would love to see that behind the scenes footage. Oh, man.
Especially when you got to consider that both actors are in that mindset, and then they're also like going through like a really like rigorous like filming process. They're like in the weather.
Oh yeah.
They have to make sure each shot counts, and it's like, man, dude, they must have been like at each other's throats.
Yeah, I heard other than that, and like some of the other technical challenges, like Andrew was saying, like about the rain. Well, shit. Do you remember that scene where they were Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson were waiting for the barge to come pick them up very first time?
Mm-hmm.
The rain that was going on there, that was going on that was real rain. Like they literally had to get there's a shit ton of people behind them in the camera, all wearing raincoats, and they all like there was like a few people, like several people that had to like hold up basically like I don't know what to call them, but basically like protectors or something to stop the wind from blowing shit away. So like yeah, that shot is stationary when it's looking at Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, but like it was like the most difficult fucking thing to do. Like they had like the wind was just so intense that like they basically like spent all day on that shot.
Oh
Basically,
my God. That's so crazy.
filmmaking process, man.
Yeah, and there was something else I wanted to bring up too, just to kind of add, I guess, to more of the subtext of the movie. Um, and it kind of adds to the point that Matt was making about like the sexual tension, more specifically when Robert Pattinson is beating his schmeat in the outhouse. Willem Dafoe is up there having his schmeat lit by the light, and it kind of adds to this context of the lighthouse light, kind of it could sort of, you could make the argument that it's like a metaphor for like the fire of the gods. It could either like keep you warm and happy, or like in Robert Pattinson's case, towards the end of the film, spoiler alert, when he finally gets into the lighthouse, when he sees the light, it's almost like it like burned him, or like kind of like was causing him a lot of pain. So it adds to like that metaphor of like the fire of the gods could either keep you warm or it could burn you to a crisp. So I thought that was a really interesting thing I wanted to bring up too.
Oh, I'm actually super glad you brought that up. Yeah, I was definitely going to get into that next. There was another interesting point where I got from the director's commentary with Robert Eggers. He refers to the lighthouse as heaven, and he refers to the other half as hell. And so, like, if you're going into it with that context, like, yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh shit, okay, so like, yeah, with that context in mind, when Robert Pattinson, like, after he basically does like the most heinous shit, he does like basically like every bad thing you can in the book, and he thinks he earned his way up there. Like, he makes his way up to the lighthouse. He's like, fuck yeah, like I earned my way up here. Like, I'm, I'm laughing, I'm having a good time. Like, fuck yeah, I did it. But then like the very next scene is just basically like him getting like shoved, or like basically like pushed out, and then like he falls down the stairs. So like basically you could view that as like an allegory for like projection, like from like getting into heaven. Like, no, like you think you're gonna get into heaven, or you think you've been spared. Like, you think you needed to do everything you needed to do. No, like that's not the case. And so he was like rejected from heaven.
And it's like Willem Dafoe foreshadowed for Robert Pattinson that like instead of getting accepted into the light, he just had his insides kind of consumed by the gullards at the end, with that beautiful shot at the end of Robert Pattinson just like beaten down, covered in bird shit. His intestines are all out, and you just see the seagulls just going to town on it. And it was such a good shot at the end.
Yeah, and he had like one eye plucked out, and I was for a bit there. I thought that, oh shit, was he the seagull, like trying to warn himself? Like, so I was like,
that's another interpretation you could use.
yeah. But man, dude, like that scene where you're talking about where he fell down, like just as a stunt, also that must have been freaking crazy to have to pull off, because that was a lot of stairs, dude. Holy shit!
It was.
Like, oh
yeah.
my God.
I mean, like the whole lighthouse is a set. So I imagine, I hope they use padded steps. Otherwise, fucking homeboy's having like a bad day the next few days. Fucking, that's awful backpack right there.
Just
Jesus.
having to control your momentum like that. Like, you don't want to go too fast, but you also want to like go fast enough so that it's like, oh yeah, he really is falling. Like.
Yeah, you definitely felt it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit. And then quick cut to him outside, fucking with his insides all out, fucking bird shit all over him, fucking very, very poetic and fitting ending.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys wanna get into about the movie? Are there any other points you want to bring up, or do you guys want to move on to the Northman? I mean, I can talk about this movie for hours, but like, for conversation's sake, I feel like we did get like a pretty good amount.
We got a good amount in. I think we can move on to the Northman. How about you, Rico? Do you have anything you want to bring up?
No, I'm good right there.
Hell yeah!
All right, let's do it. The next
get into ratings.
Oh yeah, I almost skipped the ratings. What's wrong with me? I'm getting excited.
Yeah, you're just filled with excitement today.
Yeah.
I love these movies.
Like, let's just get to the movies already.
Get to the movies, come on.
You goddamn farts.
Yeah, farts.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go first. I usually never go first. Yeah. Freaking. Yeah. Like I said. I'm super glad Andrew recommended this again. I definitely got more out of it this time around, like a lot more details, a lot more subtext. Yeah, dude, this is like one of those movies where I can watch at any point at any day. Like for me, it's definitely established itself as a comfort movie for me personally. Like I don't know, just like aside from it like being like very entertaining, it's very funny, very interpretive, very detailed. It's just there's just so much that I can grab onto with this movie. Like yeah, I honestly don't really knock it for anything. Like I don't know. Like when I first watched this movie, like I gave it probably like a 7 or so, but honestly, that just comes from me not like understanding like every aspect of it, and I don't know. It depends on how you rate movies. I'm definitely like one of those people where like I guess I do get a better experience out of it if I understand it a little bit more. So I guess like for me, it was kind of like that with this movie. The more I watch it, the more I understand. So that just furthers my enjoyment of it. So yeah, with that being said, like I'm at the point now where I'm just like, yeah, this is a perfect movie to me. Like with everything that Robert Eggers was going for, like every element is just 10 out of 10. Like it's firing on all cylinders. This is not a lazy movie. Like you can see the work being put there, and yeah, this is just something to marvel at. Like this is probably like this is probably my favorite movie that we talked about. Like aside from like Everything Everywhere All at Once, I give The Lighthouse a 10 out of 10 as well. This thing's incredible. Would you guys, or what did you think, Rico? We'll save Andrew for last.
Yeah.
His record.
So, seeing Robert Pattinson get glopped on by Defoe's gooey globs was actually a really good experience for me. Made the movie for me.
Highlight, yes.
The gooey globs.
The gooey globs. And then seeing that tentacle afterwards, I was like, I know what that was supposed to be.
Robert Eggers stepped into hentai territory.
Oh man, dude, I enjoyed this. It's just the kind of movie that I just expect the kind of quality from whenever Willem Dafoe is a part of a project. I just expect like a movie of this kind of quality to be the result of it. And I had a really damn good time, dude. Each scene that where it went there, I was just like, bro, it's showing like some stuff that I just don't see in any other movie. It's like, this is gross. This is disgusting. Like, I never would have thought that Robert Pattinson would be down to do some stuff like this, and I feel like this movie was a great career choice for Robert Pattinson to kind of stray away from his Twilight roots, and this just like puts him in the same spotlight where he's acting opposite of Defoe, like, and he's standing his own, man. Like, this is a really good movie for him. Like, damn, like, I'm actually really excited to see if he's included in any other future Robert Eggers movies, and yeah, man, after this performance in this, like, this movie is really, really damn good in my opinion. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, dude. Like, I really like this movie. Going forward, man, I'm gonna base a lot of like his Robert Pattinson's performances on this one. So, how about you, Andrew? How did you feel about this?
Your rating should have been a 10, Rico. Don't deny it. No, but I mean, obviously for me, it's so obvious. Hard! Let me strike you down, Rico.
That's what you gotta call on.
Spitting bars on me in Old English.
Don't deny it. But I mean, like I just said, it's obvious that I fucking love this movie. It's a total 10 out of 10 for me, and at first it was already a 10 out of 10 for me because I had knew who Robert Eggers was from The Witch, but this movie solidified him for me as like a fucking fantastic director. The Witch, he was a solid director, but this one moved him to the top as a fantastic and one of my favorite all-time directors. So 10 out of 10 for me. Great movie. It is at least worth one viewing for everyone in the universe to form their own opinion. So 10 out of 10. It's a great movie. Go watch it. It's going to be great. You'll love it. Don't deny it.
Fuck yeah. Dang. Freaking, yeah. Freaking 2 out of 10s in a row.
Hell yeah.
Freaking, oh, freaking, it's been a good past few weeks of movies. I
Yes,
for
sir.
sure have Venom 2, Morbius fucking out of my system. Like, we're past that shit.
We got that mouthwash. His tongue is so
exactly.
fresh
This
now.
was great mouthwash. Exactly. Yeah. Oh my god.
Let
Fucking-
Neptune strike Sony down.
Yeah, for that bullshit. Jesus Christ. Fucking put them in fucking purgatory, Jesus.
All right.
Oh.
All right, guys, you ready for the Northman?
Hell yeah,
Hell
let's
yeah.
get to it.
Yeah,
For
go
sure.
ahead, Andrew.
All right, so the next one we're going to be talking about is Robert Eggers' The Northman. And this is a Norse mythology tale, which involves our protagonist, who is a young, or he's not a young, he's more or less a Viking seeking revenge for the death of his father, which was committed by his uncle. So it's very interesting, a lot of stuff going on, very good film, like The Lighthouse is. So what did we think, guys? Did we like it? Did we not like it? How do we feel? Let's start with you, Matt.
I loved it, but like, yeah, it's definitely in the love territory for me. Yeah, it passes like only because like we previously said, Robert Eggers puts a lot of work, a lot of effort into these movies. The dialect he really cares about, you could tell there's a coach on set somewhere explaining to these actors how these lines should be delivered. Like, yeah, this film is just no other exception to that rule. Like, yeah, the actors are just firing on all cylinders here with the acting. I think what's his name? Is it Alexander Skarsgård?
Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah, just had to make sure. Yeah, he does a great performance, honestly. Like, yeah, for a physical performance, action performance, he does fantastic. But he also does a lot of the emotional scenes with like Anya Taylor-Joy and his mother. He does all those scenes very well. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot I really like about this movie. The acting is very strong. Of course, the fucking cinematography is very strong. That shit looks very beautiful. Fucking what else? Yeah, I really like the cinematography in this movie. Like a lot of these shots are just freaking gorgeous. Like a lot of those shots of the Valkyries too. Like I like a lot of the visual representation of this movie. Like it looks fucking immaculate in that sense. Freaking but yeah, what did you think, Rico? What are some of your general thoughts?
All right, so these guys had to work for their paychecks, man. There's a lot of like one shots or long takes on this, where it's like, dude, when they're like, you see like a battle play out, and then after that battle, you'll see all of them just like panting super hard and like trying to catch their breath and just on their knees, like. They're like, you can believe that that's probably just the actors like just needing a second to themselves after the incredible like physicality that they just had to like pull through, from climbing walls to fighting to running to just doing all this stuff all in like one continuous take. It's just like the amount of work that is kind of like evident in every single Robert Eggers movie that I've seen so far. I've only seen the 3, but man, dude,
Those are his only 3.
Oh, is there really only 3?
Yep,
he's just at such a high quality already.
Wow, that blows me away. Holy crap, dude. That's really crazy. I didn't know that, man. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be real interested in seeing his work go on, and I didn't realize I was coming in early on his work, dude. Like, holy crap. In that case,
I mean,
damn,
like
I
his first
love
movie was like
movie.
2018. Or hold on, let me fact check myself. I think his first movie was actually 2016.
I want to say it was like 2016, 2017.
2015. Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Damn, yeah, that movie's fucking 7 years old now. Damn.
Is that The Witch or
The
Lighthouse?
Witch? Yeah. Yeah, The Witch is 2015. Lighthouse is 2019, I believe, and then this Northman is 2022.
talk about like a change in tone in each single movie too.
It's
Like,
yeah. His budgets have gotten bigger each movie too. Like, and you
Mhm.
can see it on the scale of the Northman, especially. Like, holy shit, you could tell the money was put to screen. It was put well.
yeah, dude, like the sets that they had, like the locations, the end shot, like, dude, there's so many like, oh my god, dude, this is a director that you're gonna want to watch out for, man. This, I feel like he's gonna
Mhm.
become great, like especially Anya Taylor Joy, who played Olga. Like,
Mhm.
I've only seen her in like a couple things. Like, I seen her in a couple episodes of the that one chess show,
The Queen's Gambit.
the
The Queen's
Queen's
Gambit.
Gambit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen her in a couple episodes in that. I just started that, but I mean, dude, she's really really good. Like, I feel like a lot of the people that he chooses to be in his movies are like freaking powerhouses, dude, and they have a lot to show for it. Especially Nicole Kidman. I didn't think she. I
Yeah,
thought she was gonna be like
Yeah.
kind of weak in this movie, but she was damn good.
she was great.
Yeah, dude. Like, I was impressed. Like, that's something that I love about his movies, especially in The Northman, dude. Like, everyone can just hold their own. Like, they're all there. It's like a marvel just to see them, dude. Like,
Yeah, for sure. And like Anya Taylor Joy, I'm pretty sure wasn't she in The Witch too?
Yeah, she's the daughter.
Okay, just want to make sure.
is she really?
She is a. She's like a. Yeah, she's like a. Well, her and Willem Dafoe are the only actors that have been in like two of his movies. So like, I definitely know those are like. Well, especially Anya. They definitely have like a really good relationship. Like Anya Taylor Joy, like reportedly, like she really wanted to be in the Lighthouse. Apparently, she wanted to be the mermaid, but Robert Eggers was like, "No, you don't want to be this mermaid." So yeah, he went a different route there. But yeah,
Right.
they do have a really good relationship. Like for sure, her, and I could see Willem Dafoe for sure coming back for like another Robert Eggers movie. I could
Yeah.
definitely see that.
I feel like they're gonna be like how Quentin Tarantino has his certain guys, like his go-to people.
Okay, yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, that's how I see that relationship continuing.
Yeah, I could see that happening for sure. And one of the things that I actually really liked about The Northman, and it's something we actually talked about when we saw this, like when you look at the movie, there's no real good person or real right side throughout the film. Like no one is actually genuinely 100% a good person in this movie. Everyone is doing things for their own reasons, sort of how it would actually be during that time period. Like in that time period, like it's every man for themselves, and I love that about the movie. I like how Robert Eggers didn't hold back on that. He didn't pull any punches. He was like, nope. Everyone here is motivated by their own forms of like greed, I guess, or their own self satisfaction in a way.
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting point to bring up because, like, okay, spoiler alert. Yeah, full spoiler discussion for the Northman. We're just going to get that out of the way at first. Yeah, he basically fucking kills his fucking his uncle's fucking child and his mom by extension. So it's like, yeah, like just to hammer your point, yeah, like there's no really like morally good character in this movie. Like don't get me wrong, like but obviously I do side with Alexander Skarsgård. Like he's our protagonist and he was the one wronged. Like obviously, like of the lesser two evils, like he's the better one.
Right.
And you completely understand his motivation too. Like yeah, freaking you took out my entire family. Like yeah, I'm gonna kill you and do the same.
Mhm.
But I do find the point interesting. I'll just get into it now. How did you guys feel about that reveal with his mother, and that
Oh,
it was
man.
revealed that his mother basically like put the hit out on him?
Oh, dude, I loved it. I mean, I kind of had a feeling it was coming just because the whole vibe of the movie that I was getting, like, no one is actually in the right here. So it made me, and I think I brought this up to you guys after we saw it too, was like, it made me feel like maybe his dad did something wrong to the mom initially, which is what caused him to get killed by the uncle. Because it's kind of like, again, no one here is a good person. And when Nicole Kidman's character reveals to Alexander Skarsgård's character that, no, your dad basically forced me into this marriage and forced me to have you when I never wanted you, like, and just that whole monologue she gives to him, it is so fucking bonkers and fucked up when you look at it. It's like, that's your son, bro. You're gonna just talk to him like what the fuck, you fucking bitch. Like
And
it
then she
was so
tries to make
gnarly,
out with him.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the incest. I was like, huh? What the fuck?
Yo, she's
Like,
trying
oh,
to ride
you're the strong one now.
Yeah, she's trying to ride
Mm-hmm.
that clout, bro. She's trying to get that that title right there.
She
They,
she wants some.
Yeah.
She wants some of that Viking ship, if you know what I'm saying.
yeah.
And
So I had
like that. Oh, go ahead, Rico. Go ahead.
I had a couple glimpses that she was gonna turn out to kind of like be the kind of character that she was, because when they first show her, preteen Alexander Skarsgård's character comes into like her room when she's getting dressed up, and she's like, "Get out of my room!" Like she's all like hella pissed at him and everything, and it clips to like little kid Skarsgård, and he's all like smiling, thinking that they're playing around, but she doesn't look like she's playing around. And then like the uncle, he like goes off on Willem Dafoe's fool when he starts talking shit on the queen. He's like, "Hey, get the fuck! I'm gonna cut your throat out," or something like that. And he's all like, he's super mad at that. And then the king's all like, it's whatever, man. I like this guy. And it's like the king basically put his fool above his queen, and it's like it kind of shows like the relationships, like who cares more about who, and it kind of just establishes that. It doesn't put too much like focus on it, but it shows, you know. So I kind of had a feeling that it was gonna turn out like that, but I didn't know she was gonna try to like seduce her son to like
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just want to add to Rico's point that like the way the characters were kind of interacting with each other was kind of foreshadowing, because after the king came back and he was like fatally wounded or whatever, they're like the way they were talking to each other. It wasn't like a marriage. It felt like it was sort of like a professional kind of conversation. Like the way she was speaking to him, saying like, "Oh well, you know, we got to do all this stuff," and he's like, "Well, I need to prepare our son for all this and all that." Like it didn't feel like they were like in love with each other. It's just like they were a marriage of circumstance in a way. So that scene alone was what kind of had me go, maybe he's not all in the right here, the dad. So that was one of the scenes that I kind of just wanted to add to Rico's point, that like there's that foreshadowing of like it's not this is gonna go a certain way, but you're not gonna see it till later on in the film.
especially when he's all like he's with her, and then she's like, "Come on, come lay with your queen, you've had a long journey." He's like, "Nah, I'm good, I'm gonna go handle some shit first." Like he really did not look forward to seeing her again. He wasn't like thinking of her or like trying to fight his way back to her or anything. He was just like, "I don't really care about you." She had strong
Yeah.
side chick vibes in his opinion.
Yeah.
Like he just
Are you
knocked-
talking about Ethan Hawke's character?
Yeah, Ethan Hawke
Yeah,
had like knocked up his side chick, and he was like, "Damn it." Well, I guess. I mean,
You're like, well,
Yeah.
I love. Fuck, I guess I'll keep you around since
Yeah.
you're his mom. Well,
Yeah, and like, giving, the setting, in this era, Vikings, they would go around, rape, pillage, fucking take women for, their own satisfaction. I just kind of feel like that's what Nicole Kidman went through with Ethan Hawke's character in the past. So that's why she has like so much animosity towards him. Like
Yeah.
fucking like, yeah, you took me from my actual home only for me to carry a son for you, which, I could see why she might have like a little bit of resentment towards her son a little bit in like those earlier scenes and whatnot. Like she's probably, yeah, 100% like she's just a victim of, the raping and pillaging and all that stuff. So, she feels, like oppressed in that way. So fucking she needs to go to fucking, I don't even know the actor's name either, but she has to go to the uncle because, he actually views all this differently. Like he actually like does, love and care for her. And, you see that later on in the movie. But, from Alexander Skarsgård's perspective, he thinks that like he's like the fucking worst. Like, no, you have fucking kidnapped my mom, fucking you killed everyone, fucking, which he did do all that stuff. But that actually does bring up a point. Like even in, I mean, I need to rewatch it because I only watched it one time. But like when she was initially getting taken, it did sound like she was screaming, but like later on, she brought up that like, oh, I wasn't screaming, like, oh, I was laughing with joy or something like that, and like, I don't know, because like I know she's saying that to like basically like throw off like Alexander Skarsgård, like maybe even the audience by extension, but. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I need to watch it again, but the first time I watched it, I perceived it as like, okay, she was screaming, but
Yeah, yeah. I
I
agree.
felt that.
I agree. I totally thought she was like screaming, so that was something I wanted to rewatch and see like, is she screaming or is she laughing? Because it really sounded like she was just screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's like a detail where I'm like, okay, if I rewatch it, maybe it will sound like laughing. Like I said, like I don't know if that was like something to like throw off the audience or something for that later scene, so it would make sense. So yeah, I don't know.
I was gonna say too that it could be a whole editing aspect too, because again, we're seeing all this happen like when she's getting kidnapped by the uncle and everything. Like we're seeing it from Alexander Skarsgård's character's perspective.
Yeah,
So from his
yeah,
perspective, it sound like screaming, but I'm sure because again, I'm on the same page as you, Matt. I only watched it the one time when we went to go see it in theaters, and just from how quick that was, it sounded like she was screaming for sure. But for all we know, she could have actually been laughing, and just because of the build up to that point where the dad gets killed, the whole village gets pillaged and everything, like we just perceived it as screaming just because oh yeah, that's what she would do in that situation, just scream. But maybe she was laughing, and probably if we watch it again we might catch her laughing, who knows.
yeah. It would definitely be interesting to catch up on that detail and rewatch because yeah, honestly, like that and like yeah, a few other things bother me about this movie. I don't think it's perfect. I definitely think it does have like a slight pacing issue in like the second act a little bit. It does
Mm-hmm.
kind of get into like a like it's not as like actiony as I would want it to be. Which don't get me wrong, like I understand like Robert Eggers, he's not going for an action movie. With that being said, like the action in this movie is fantastic when it does show up. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I needed in the middle to pad it out or make it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, I don't know. The middle section of this movie is it's not bad. It's just like I don't know. It just kind of feels long in that sense. Like I would have liked a bit more of like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know what I would personally add for better experience, but yeah, freaking yeah, just mild criticism on like the second act and the pacing issues in that section. But it also does have like some really really dope scenes where they're fucking playing like that one fucking like soccer game. I don't even know what to call
Yeah.
it, but it's fucking brutal.
I remember how we were on the theater and it got to the point where they were playing and then the uncle's team was like losing or whatever, and fucking the uncle's son, starts running into the fucking field, and like this bulky motherfucker from the other team was ready to fucking murder that kid, and if it wasn't for Alexander Skarsgård saving him, like that kid would have been fucking dead. And we were all like, dude, what the fuck? Like in the theater, I remember that.
Yeah,
Also,
fucking headbutting him to death. I'm like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, bro! No one's winning in that one.
Uh-huh.
Also, this is the
Oh.
first movie we all saw together. That was really
It was.
cool.
An
was
AM
cute, guys.
podcast first.
It was our first date, guys. It
Yeah.
was so cute.
It really was. 10 out of 10.
It's gonna
Best
be
10
a,
date.
out of 10 to the date, not the movie.
Definitely. Can't wait for the next one we watch together. But anyways, back to Northman.
yeah.
Freaking, do you guys have any, like, mild criticisms or, like, anything you want to get into, Rico or Andrew?
So one thing that I was a little like, what the fuck? Basically, he's like going through he's infiltrated his uncle's like stronghold, whatever it's called, and he's basically torturing him by killing out like kind of undermining his like faith and like his security by killing off like his men and then like making like basically effigies out of them. But it's like when you see like the result of like what he's doing, it's like how the hell did he do this without anyone like noticing and also like picking up bodies and like hanging them up like by himself.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
Like, I was like, how the fuck did he do this shit? Did he just have like a pulley on hand for every single like kill that he had? He was like, can you just fall in this spot? It's gonna make cleanup much easier to do. I can position you in this way. Just please die in this spot. I just don't understand like how he was able to do all this stuff and then get away with it, because he kills a couple people in an outhouse basically, and it's like presumably I would say it's probably one of the only outhouses, and if it's right next to like the party or whatever, I feel like that would be frequented a lot.
Yeah.
I get that. Like the only thing I could like, the only defense I was able to come up with it while I was watching it, I was like, well, he's doing it in the dead of night, and like, to be fair, it's not like he had like a stronghold, because in retrospect, he basically just had like a farm that they were living on. So it wasn't really like, it's not like he had the best defenses to begin with, but just because, you know, I guess you could chalk that down to like the uncle's arrogance, like, oh, we're on a farm, I don't need that much security, I don't really care, like, you know, people need to see, like, I remember the scene where him and his son were like building the fence for the farm, and the son was like, why the fuck are we doing this? We're like royalty. And he's like, people need to see that we're like anybody else, like we can't show them we're above them or something like that. And I was like, I kind of just chalked it down to that, just because like it's like a farm. He doesn't want it to look like a giant kingdom with like a bunch of security and all this other stuff. But again, like it kind of doesn't answer the question of like, how did he move the bodies and all that stuff, and how did he manage to get them in all those positions that he did without anybody hearing or noticing him?
Yeah.
Yeah, also, Homeboy here has a little bit of an artistic eye, too, because he fucking made him look like a horse or something.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, yeah, I'm actually glad you brought that up, Rico, because that was, like, one of my major criticisms. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, Homeboy literally had the time to do this, and no one hears anything? No one fucking caught this? Like, I get it's in the middle of the night, but, like, really? Yeah. Homeboy doesn't have blood on him, or I don't know.
Also,
like, maybe
there's so many questions going through my head.
Like maybe it was because of the magic sword he got, I guess. But even then, you're like, how does that work?
Yeah. It's like +5 strength. He's disabled now.
Yeah. No, it's like +5 strength and +5 stealth for some reason.
Yeah.
But that's something I do want to talk about too, though. I want to talk about the scene where he gets the I think it was like the I can't remember the name. Sword, it was like the wolf blade or the wolf fang or something like that.
Something
the
like
sword that he gets from it was the sword that he gets from like some skeleton creature that he has to fight, which that fight was actually really dope. It gave me like God of War vibes in a way, when he had to like figure out how to beat the creature every time, because the fight wasn't real, because it was just like it was like a mind game in a way.
Yeah, I like how it kind of reminded me of like a Draugr little tomb in Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like,
yeah.
Damn, I was getting Dark Soul vibes.
It seems like
cool.
it, yeah.
They all got like slightly different vibes.
I know.
Damn
interesting,
good.
though. They do all like coincide together very well.
They
like,
really do.
Like even like I said earlier, like the fucking like the money being put to work here, like the set design and all that looks fucking fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that fight was sick too. When he like outsmarts it, puts it in the light, and then cuts its head off and then shoves his head up his ass.
yeah, fucking okay. You guys took that for laughs, right? Like you thought that was funny, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna ask this, like, because I got into an argument with a friend recently where he was like, "No, that was not played for laughs, bro. No, that was 100% played for laughs." Did you guys feel like it was played for laughs?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was just disrespecting the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Dude pulled like some Fortnite streamer shit. Like he just fucked with him. Like he was disrespecting him intentionally. He was like, "Fuck you! I just beat you, bitch!" Like this is what that was for.
That was basically him just teabagging his opponent.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's the equivalency of like Fortnite dancing on the grave.
Yeah. He's all, "I'm gonna shove your head up your ass,
Thank
bitch."
Thank you, guys.
What else
bring
would
this up later?
What else would it have been?
Oh, you
That's
know,
what I was saying.
Matt, I'm more curious. Like, what was your friend's argument? What was his argument for it not? Like, what was he saying if it wasn't humorous? What was it for then? What was his point?
a
Or they're
sign of
like,
disrespect. Which, don't get me wrong, like, yeah,
what?
it is a sign of disrespect. It is a sign of
Oh.
disrespect, but like
Oh.
100%, like there is an element of comedy there. Like
Yeah.
it was played for comedy.
Yeah. Okay, so he's talking about like as if it's like in that culture that's like a sign of disrespect, but in the movie's stance towards the audience, he was saying it wasn't supposed to be for laughs.
Well, yeah, in a way, like it wasn't like supposed to be funny, but like I think the opposite. Like I know Robert Eggers, like I got like a comedic like tone out of it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Like he was going for that, like 100%.
I feel like even in the culture, that disrespect would have been funny as shit too back in then.
Yeah.
I feel like it works
Like,
both ways.
The humor of it is the disrespect. That's what makes it funny. That it's disrespect.
But yeah, and I didn't see it coming either. Like he shoved the sword up his butt. Like that's what I got out of it. I'm like, yes, like this is great. I love that Robert Eggers like trademark humor is here in like such a serious tone, like a setting. Like I love that there's just like comedy interspliced throughout his movies. Like I love it.
Also, the humor involving like the fart and the burp in the beginning when they were imitating wolves.
Oh yeah.
For that rite of passage that young Skarsgård had with his dad Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, dude, freaking Robert Eggers is making farts like one of his trademarks too.
It really
like,
is.
Aside from making fantastic movies, this is like his second movie that has farts in it.
It's like,
It has
bringing it
fantastic
back.
farts, fantastic farts, and fantastic films.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta get all those F's in there.
Yeah, in that scene, Willem Dafoe's fool, he was all like, "Oh, what a smart guy you are for choosing that to be your identifier as a human," and I like that because later on in the film, like when he's torturing his uncle, he does do some smart ass shit. He's not going in there just running in like butchering people. He infiltrated, gained their trust, and then chose who to kill at what times, and then to like build up fear and everything. And it's I really like that. It really did show that he was smart. He wasn't like this stupid person that Olga initially thought he was.
Yeah, he's strategic as fuck.
So, what did you guys think of the his final decision? Because more spoilers, obviously. He does the nasties with Olga, and they're about to leave because they're like, "All right, we did everything we needed to do. Let's get the fuck out of here." And then when she tells him that she's pregnant, and she didn't want to tell him until after they were away because she knew that he would like flip out and like try to kill the uncle. How did you guys feel about that? I know we talked about it a little bit after we saw it, but how did you guys feel about him making the decision to go back to kill the uncle?
I do have like mild issues with it. Like thematically, I do like it. Like I do like that they do set up this like showdown, like even from the very beginning. Like, oh, we're gonna like fight in the depths of hell or blah blah blah. Like, you know, hence the volcano. Like thematically, like I really like it, and story wise, like it makes sense. But I guess from like a logical perspective, like I understand like he uses the justification like he'll never stop hunting us. Like, dude, you know it's a pretty big world. Like, I'm pretty sure if you were to go like on the other side of the earth, he's not gonna fucking find you. Like, I just found like that justification a little bit weak. I would have liked it a little bit more if like I don't know. I guess I would have liked if maybe that element just wasn't even there, like him having a son and whatnot, because then you could just kind of focus on like the just I guess by the numbers revenge tale. I guess it would have had like a little bit more focus for me personally. But yeah, as a result, I mean, we still get like an amazing fucking fight in a volcano while they're naked. So, you know, no complaints there. But yeah, just the choice to go back there, I'm not like 100% on board with.
How about you, Rico? What do you think?
All right, so I kind of feel like I was a little meta because it's like I feel like Skarsgård's character knew that if he left, he would basically lose his protagonist like shielding, you know? Because I feel like anyone here in this movie could be the protagonist. Like Nicole Kidman was raped by Skarsgård's dad, Ethan Hawke, and the brother was always slighted by his by Ethan Hawke, and he loved Nicole Kidman. So then he waged his war against Ethan Hawke, and it could have easily been him the protagonist. And because he didn't kill the son, it came back to haunt him. And the son in this movie is seen as the protagonist. And if he killed his uncle's son and then just left, basically the uncle would have been like the protagonist trying to do the righteous thing by avenging his son. And I feel like it was just like anyone in this movie could have been the protagonist. Like, everyone is morally wrong in a lot of ways and morally right in a lot of ways. So I feel like if he... but what I would have done, I would just got my little raiding party that I had and just fucking burned their shit down. Like, I would have just called up the boys and just set fire and flame to all their asses, dude.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
For me, I think the choice he makes to go back, it kind of like what Matt was saying, it fits thematically and it makes sense for the story. And I think it was a good choice overall, just because, you know, the whole idea that Matt was bringing up of how, like, even if like he could go, it's a big world and he could just like leave and just like no one would really know where he was. You could make the same argument that that's what the uncle thought, but yet Alexander Skarsgård still found him. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, you know, the uncle could have found him too with all the resources that he has as well. And the difference is Alexander Skarsgård's character didn't have that many resources and he still found his uncle. But his uncle has like an army and stuff like that, so he could have easily just found him again and killed all of them. So I think it makes sense that he went back to fight him even if he dies, because he still has his bloodline carrying forward. Like, killing his uncle can't have any more kids to, like, you know, seek out his revenge. Like, the most you could say is, like, maybe his, like, soldiers could, but even then, he kind of treated all his underlings like shit, the uncle. So there's no real reason for them to kind of fight for his honor post his death kind of thing, you know? So I think I think it's pretty logical. And plus, looking at it, like, the time period, he would have felt like a great sense of dishonor if he didn't go back to complete his set mission of seeking out revenge for his father, which is the whole concept of, like, the sins of your father carry on to the son. So I thought that was really cool, and I think it works for me. I think it's a good choice, personally.
Yeah, I feel like Fjolnir would have probably had the favor of the gods, something that they talk about a lot in the movie, because even though Skarsgård didn't know where his uncle was, he was basically given, like, what is it, like a vision from this lady? I don't know if she was real or what.
Bjork.
Bjork. Yeah.
Well, I mean, sorry, that's the well, she's an artist. Let me look up like what her character name is.
But yeah, he was like,
shit! I actually don't know Bjork's actual name. I'm on IMDb. I'm just now realizing that.
The Cirrus.
Was it?
Oh, actually, no. She does come up as Bjork. My bad. Okay. I was going off. I was like, what's her actual name? Oh. Okay, I see it now. Yeah, yeah, you're right, Rico. It comes up as a Cirrus.
Yeah, but he was like kind of just guided there. He didn't know where his uncle was, so he was just kind of guided there by the favor of the gods. So I feel like if he had done the dishonorable thing and just left, the uncle would have been given the favor and would have gone and finished it off.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm with the idea that he had to go back to finish what he started, kind of thing. Because it's always that whole thing, like, you reap what you sow. So if, like, he didn't complete everything further, he would have lost his favor with the gods, and the gods would have been like, all right, you didn't kill your uncle, guess what, your uncle's gonna come back and kill you and your family, well done.
You're not you're no
best
longer
we can do
worthy.
is kill each other.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the whole Viking mythology when you think about it. It's all about raping, drinking, killing one another, just kind of their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thematically, by the way it ended, I'm like, all right, this is very satisfying. Like, it needed to end that way.
Mm-hmm. And, like, just that final fight was so fucking cool. Like, I liked how he when he lays out his mother and, like, I guess his half-brother on the ground near the volcano as, like, hey, yeah, I'm over here. Come get me, bitch. Like, I thought that was that's some savage gangster shit right there. I was like, god damn.
Yeah, it's especially after having seen both of his son and his wife dead. The uncle was like, meet me here. I'm like blind with rage right now, but meet me at this place, we'll do this correctly.
Mm.
I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking honorable of him, honestly. Like,
Yeah, it was.
I'm not gonna lie, I did think they were gonna throw down right there, and I was like, oh wow, they're really gonna throw down in this small space right here. But yeah, then he freaking just gets his wife and his kid, and he's like, all right, I'll see you, motherfucker.
yeah, much better
Yeah.
mood lighting. Meet me 5 o'clock by the bathroom stall.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is
It's going
one
down.
thing I really wanted to get into though,
Mhm.
that I was a huge fan of. How did you guys feel about like the mysticism in this movie and like all like those elements?
It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
wanted Olga to be more of a witch. Like, it was cool the shit she did, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I wish that we had more of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I do want a little bit more mysticism. I do like what we got though, because we did get like a lot of great cinematography, a lot of great shots, a lot of like the family tree.
Yeah.
Every time they would cut back to those scenes, like those were very visually pleasing. Or the Valkyries. The Valkyries were really cool visual.
All right.
Like that last shot,
Sure.
especially where you see the Valkyrie going up in the sky and you just see this light coming down. Like, oh, like that's just it's wallpaper worthy right there.
All right.
100%.
So we talked about it after the movie, but did anyone follow up and see if Valkyries had like crooked teeth or some shit, and that's why they wore braces?
I did do my research. Yeah,
We did.
It is an actual thing. Like, it's not like braces, but like it is like it's not to like fix your feet. It's not to fix your teeth. Let me Google it just so I don't talk like an idiot. But yeah, apparently it is a thing.
All right, because seeing that shit, I
Maybe
was
it's
just
like a
like,
warrior thing.
seeing that shit, I thought it was like Robert Eggers' niece or something, and she just had braces, and they just wanted her in the movie. I thought it was something
Right.
like that. I was just like, why is she wearing braces?
Maybe it's sort of like a sense of like maybe it's like it's an identifier so you know that they're actually Valkyrie or something.
Okay, so okay, why does the girl have braces in the Northman? Answer: they're only found on men. So the decision, which is Robert's decision, this wasn't something I was involved in, to put them on the Valkyrie's teeth. It associates her with a different gender, maybe, or a different world, says Price. She's a being of war. That's oh damn it. There's a lot more to read. She's a being of war, that's what she does. And then there's another article that says, no, the Valkyrie from the Northman isn't wearing braces. And then, hold on, let me see if I can find a little bit more info on this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically, like what it's implying is like basically like it is like a Valkyrie thing.
Oh, so it's just okay. Well, that's still
Yeah,
cool.
as I come across more info, I'll let you guys know.
I guess
But,
I'm just uncultured.
Well, yeah, I mean, like 100%. Like I noticed that too, and I'm like, okay, like this is a Robert Eggers movie, like 100%. Like that's those aren't braces. Like
Yeah.
he's putting that detail there for a reason. So like, yeah, I was like a little curious about it, but yeah, freaking, yeah, it is a thing apparently.
Interesting.
Yeah, freaking, oh fuck, I'm trying to read and talk to you guys at the same time. Sorry.
It's cool, dude.
Is there anything else you guys want to get into? Anything else that really stood out to you?
So this isn't like, it's I seen this on IMDb. It's a part of the trivia. I thought it was like super funny. I wouldn't usually like read this stuff out, but I think it's actually pretty cool. Is it okay if I talk to you guys about this real quick?
Absolutely. No kidding. Of course, dude. Hit us with it. What's up?
All right, so after shooting Wrapped, several of the actors received gifts from the set. Nicole Kidman received a sword. Willem Dafoe received a real-life longship. Bjork received 3 horses. Alexander Skarsgård received the bloodstained thong he wore for a week while shooting the final scene of the film in a frame.
What?
I feel like there's a massive discrepancy in the quality of these like gifts.
I was about to say.
Bjork got
why
3
did Nicole
horses.
Kidman get a sword? Why didn't Alexander Skarsgård get the sword that he used?
Willem Dafoe got a freaking real life longship. Like, what?
Yeah.
He got
Why did Bjorn get 3 horses?
What are you saying there, Robert? Like, are you saying are you ranking them in order of love?
yeah.
Like you get the more expensive gift. Here you go.
Skarsgård.
Like, okay, now I understand why this budget was like over $70 million. He had to get some gifts.
He had to buy the horses.
Skar-
He had to get the fucking horse.
yeah.
Like that's the
Skarsgård
weirdest
got.
one to me. Like the blood covered thong. Maybe that's like an inside joke between Alexander Skarsgård and Robert Eggers. That I could like kind of get. The sword, okay, I can get it. But the horses and the ship, what?
Yeah, that's
How much
wild.
did they cost?
Like Skarsgård got unwashed blood or ball stained like underwear framed for him. Willem Dafoe got a freaking longship, which he had no part getting because he was never on the water or anything.
Maybe it's for the
Like,
lighthouse, huh?
what?
Yeah, exactly.
So he can be a sea dog. Mate.
Yeah.
Like, you
maybe-
know, the budget for the last movie couldn't afford this gift.
Yeah. What if Robert Eggers was like, Willem, do this next movie for me? I don't know if I can, man. I just finished filming Spider-Man. I got this stuff over there. Hear me out. What if I got you a ship and you could be a real wiki like you were in the Lighthouse? Willem Dafoe was like, sign me up. Like that's what it was. Like that's what happened.
You know,
Oh,
on that
man.
note, I'm just gonna say it. It's bullshit that Willem Dafoe is not in this movie more.
I know. Yeah.
At least his
That was
head
kinda
is.
fun. Yeah. And his voice.
Also, that is a prop that I am looking forward to doing. So, taking a live cast of someone's face and then making a severed head mold of that. That's something that I'm looking to do on Practically Done. With your guys' help,
Okay.
if you're down.
Rico, I will be the head for you.
I would love for your head.
Heck yeah. I give great head.
Thanks, man.
No prob, dude.
But yeah, freaking oh shit, what was I gonna bring up? Yeah, is there anything else you guys want to get into, or do you guys want to wrap this up and call it?
I'm gonna wrap it up. How about you,
Yeah.
Rico? You got anything else?
No, honestly, I'm pretty satisfied there.
Okay, yeah, likewise. Freaking yeah, this might be, besides the Batman, this might be our first discussion, but I feel like we got like a lot out there.
Honestly, aside from the Batman, I think the Batman and this are probably like my 2 favorite episodes we've done so far.
Yeah,
This one's my favorite.
I had a lot of
Mhm.
fun watching these movies, and I feel like this one's gonna have a little bit more like sentimental, just because we all met up and watched a movie together for the first time, a new movie that just came out.
Yeah.
100%. Which, I mean, I do want to bring. Well, yeah, I want to bring it up after the podcast. I was just going to see if you guys want to go watch something here soon.
Of course.
Yeah, we'll discuss that afterwards.
Jurassic
good.
Park.
Oh, fuck no. No, I'm just kidding. I'll watch it. I really didn't like the last one, but I'll watch it.
Yeah, they're not my favorite, but I am kind of wanting to see what happens with the last one on this one.
Yeah, for completion's sake, I'm down.
Exactly.
But yeah, do you guys want to get into ratings?
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. Alright, I'll go first again on this one. So, yeah, whenever I'm like trying to rank the 3 Eggers movies, I don't know. It's really hard. I don't know if I prefer The Witch or The Northman. I mean, it's not like it. I mean, not like it matters too much. I rate them both the same. But yeah, dude, I love The Northman. This was a great movie. I think it's a great progression for his career in terms of like, you know, working with a bigger budget, just having way more experience. We now know Robert Eggers could do action. He did recently state he'll never do a Marvel movie, which that's okay with me. 100% okay. Yeah, like I know he's not that kind of guy. That would be like trying to ask like Stanley Kubrick to make like a DC movie or something.
Yeah.
Like just fuck no, that'll
I
just
feel
never
like-
happen.
Here's my thing. Just before we wrap up, I don't think Robert Eggers could do a Marvel movie. Not that because he couldn't make it good. I think he could make like a fantastic Marvel movie. I just think he couldn't work well with the studio and their standards and their mandates. That's my thing.
Yeah, too many
No,
hands.
it wouldn't feel genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Too many hands in the pot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's rare that you get like a director's like print on one of those Marvel movies. Like
Yeah.
fucking Sam Raimi with the recent Doctor Strange movie. Like
Hmm.
like I want more of that shit. I want more of like the director's like, you know, imprint on the movie instead of like going for like the typical Marvel schlock.
Formula. Yeah, the formula that they
Exactly.
that. And I mean, to be fair, the formula has worked for years, so you get why they still use it. But
Yeah, you have to change it up because like we're at
yeah,
that point now where it's getting stale. Like, all right, guys,
uh,
you guys are pumping out like 3 a year. Fucking, you got to
yeah,
show me something different. You guys got to do different shit now at this point.
yeah.
I agree.
But yeah, freaking, yeah, I'll wrap it up here. Yeah, I love the Northman. Great cinematography, great acting, great action. Freaking, yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I might enjoy it upon rewatch, but as of right now, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. So yeah, what do you think, Rico?
All right, so this movie, like, oh shit. So I gotta say, there are some really impressive ass scenes in this movie, dude. Like, just the physicality in the beginning, in the first half that you see, where it's like, you see all of it, them catching the spear, throwing it. I'm sure that's not a real spear that he's catching. It's like fake, but I mean, still, it's cool as shit seeing it. It looks seamless. And then seeing him
Absolutely.
run up to the wall, climb that thing, jump down, mayhem's just like just going all off in the background. He's killing fools and like just going through it, and he's just like a cold fucking intimidating presence. Just like it's so good at establishing like how badass certain characters are, and that even that there's an antagonist, even the antagonist is like actually very like honorable and a good person. It's like everyone, that's something that I love about this movie. Everyone is gray. Everyone is just morally gray in every single aspect, and it just makes it seem more real. It's no one's cartoonishly evil or a Mary Sue or anything. And that's like something in Robert Eggers movies that I'm really enjoying. It's not like how Marvel is black and white, like good and evil. It's like this is something that I would enjoy seeing much more of, and this just solidified it. Like the three movies that he has, this being the biggest budget one, I'm really curious, and I'm like anticipating his next movie, and it's just keeping the quality up. No bad movies. So I'm just gonna say like I would rate this one an 8 out of 10. It's got me pumped up for the next thing that comes out. What about you, Andrew?
Well, for me, it's definitely it's not as good as the Lighthouse for me, but I still love it nonetheless. It's a great piece of cinema. Just that whole point you just brought up is something that made me love the movie that much more. The whole tracking shot of Alexander Skarsgård's character breaching the other village with the spear catch, like the spear catching. When I saw that in the trailer and the way he threw it back like a savage, I was like, "All right, this movie is gonna be fucking phenomenal," and it was. But there are, like we talked about, there's still some issues with the film, and I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. I still love it. I think it's a great film. It just missed the mark for the 10 for me this time around.
Yeah, I would agree with what Matt said earlier. Like midway through, it kind of like it slows down a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and that it kind of hurts it for me just a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't take away anything, but it just hurts the film a tad bit.
Oh yeah, not at all.
Yeah, still like fucking 8 to 10 being ranked one of those like not a problem at all. Like
It's a
fucking
worthy.
that's a fantastic movie
Yeah,
in my book.
exactly.
But yeah, so yeah, that about wraps it for this conversation. It was an amazing Eggers filled conversation. Hopefully one day we can maybe watch The Witch and get it on the podcast one day.
I was gonna
But
say,
what's up, dude?
I was gonna say we need to get the witch on an episode one of these days.
Just
Yeah,
wrap up the
100%.
trilogy.
Yeah, freaking, we will definitely be discussing The Witch in the future. Whether it be a recommendation or whenever the next Robert Eggers movie come out.
That would be cool.
We'll definitely get it in there, 100%.
For the next
But,
movie, theaters, we'll do another double feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, that's good too. Yeah.
I like that.
Don't miss the opportunity like I did with Everything Everywhere All at Once last week. Like, oh, still kicking myself in the ass for that. But we got it here. Fucking best conversation we've had. Well, my personal favorite one. Like this one went really smoothly. Yeah, but yeah, that concludes it for this episode of AM Podcast. But before we go, we'll get our plugs in. But the next recommendation is going to be by Rico here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, what are going to be your recommendations?
All right, so we had a movie come out a couple weeks ago that we all saw. Some loved it more than others. It was very polarizing. It was Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness. So we're going to dive into this Marvel movie. And then the second movie, which is going to be Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Dude.
Awesome.
Episode. Oh, yeah.
I've never watched it. I've always wanted to. That's great.
So when we watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, I saw one actor in there that honestly, and I know it's probably bad for me to say, but I honestly thought he passed away, because this is a guy that I saw in this 1986 movie that I thought was very old then, and he's still alive and still kicking ass and bringing his acting chops into play still. I'm like, bro, he's in his upper 90s. This guy is kicking ass. I'm like, I was like, just for that reason, I was like, I gotta recommend this movie, Big Trouble in Little China. One of my favorite movies, honestly.
Classic.
That's a John Carpenter movie.
Yes, it
Never
is.
watched it.
Honestly, a cult classic that I don't hear many people talking about.
Yeah, because Kurt Russell's in that one too, isn't he?
Hell yes, dude.
Yes, he is. There it is.
Fucking Gary Oldman too.
Yup. Completely forgot he was in that one too.
Oh, so you have seen this movie, Andrew?
I did one time when I was younger, but my memory on it is very vague.
Oh, okay. So yeah, new experience for you, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, right on. Nice. Fucking good shit, Rico. Fucking being all prepared and whatnot.
Hey,
love that.
Thank you. Just took me a few weeks.
Hell yeah. Freaking, it'll be a dope discussion. I'm very much looking forward to it. Freaking, yeah, just gotta figure out where to watch. Oh, it's saying it's on Stars, so I probably have to rent it on Amazon, but that's okay. These older movies typically tend to be rented at probably $2 to $3, so it's not that bad.
All right.
So yeah, freaking. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm Matt. Just make sure to follow the podcast on Facebook, AM Podcast 01. It's also the same for Instagram. Yeah, give us a follow. Anything else you want to plug, Andrew, Rico?
Well, I have practically done the first episode. Pretty much already done. Practically done already. So that should be out this upcoming weekend. And then we'll go into a talk on the first episode about what we're going to do for the second. And that one has Matt in it. So it's going to be pretty cool. Hopefully in the second one we'll have Andrew in it too. So that'd be
I'll
cool.
be there.
That'd be cool to have in-person visuals on all of us, you know. You can follow that on Practically Done on YouTube.
So you can see our pretty faces.
Exactly.
Yeah. There we go. Anything you want to say, Andrew?
Hug your friends. Show each other some love. Be happy. Live your life. Watch movies. It's
yes. Hug your friends. Especially hug your friends.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Check on them. You don't know what they're going through.
You never know. You never know. Maybe they're sad because they saw a bad movie. Recommend them a good one. Show them our podcast. We have great movie recommendations on here.
Just watched the Texas Chainsaw remake.
God damn it, you beat me to the
Damn it. You had one job.
Recommend them everything everywhere all at once.
There you go. That's
That'll
right.
put him in a good mood.
Yeah, there you go. Good job. Good. Good fix, Rico. Good fix.
I'm just like, Rico knows I can't help but talk shit on that movie every opportunity I get.
After
God.
you guys talked about it on here, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not gonna watch it then.
One of these days, dude, we're gonna strap you to a chair and make you.
Good luck.
Oh my god. Oh man. But yeah. All right. Fuck yeah. That concludes this episode. Have a good one, my dudes. Peace.
Take care, guys.
Have a good one. Later.